Hey y'all, welcome to Fitting in Homemaking. My name is Sarah. If you're new here, if you're not new here, thank you for watching more than one video. Please subscribe if you haven't done that yet and hit the notification bell. Today is another exciting day because we are doing another house project, or I should say that my husband predominantly is doing another house project. He's still on vacation, so this is the time of year that he knocks out some of the projects around the house that we've been wanting to do that are a little bit more labor intensive and that I just simply don't have the time to do, nor do I care to learn how to do. So today's project is putting in tile backsplash, and we're just going to be doing it from the backsplash of our countertop up to the bottom of our kitchen cabinets here, and we're going to be doing it all around the kitchen. I'll take you on a little bit of a tour of just that space. But what I'm going to be doing for him is I'm going to be clearing off all the countertops, and I will be taking things like this down and removing the outlet covers. And I'll give you a close-up over here in just a minute. But part of the reason why we're doing this is just for aesthetics. It's gonna look so much nicer actually having a backsplash. But for practical purposes, this has that nasty kind of textured wall finish on it that the previous owners did that my husband and I don't particularly care for. And normally it's just something we don't like looking at, but in the kitchen, especially on this area where we would normally have a backsplash, it's just really hard to clean off all the food splatters. This countertop over here is kind of our main food prep area that we use because it's between the fridge and the stove. So it gets quite a lot of splatters on the wall, and because the wall is textured, it's just really, really difficult to clean. So I will be cleaning that off and making sure it's nice and dry before my husband does his part of the actual tile and grout installation. But we're really excited. These tiles are just, hold them up here a little bit. They're like subway tiles, but they're not separate subway tiles, so hopefully that will make the project go along much quicker. My husband has done the traditional separate subway tiles in his kitchen in his previous house before we moved in together. So hopefully this will go quick for him and not be as large of a project as that one was. But let me stop chatting. I'll get you some close-ups of the space, and then I will go ahead and clear and clean the space for him. Okay. So I have the under cabinet lighting on, but it doesn't really do too much, but I'm hoping the camera kind of picks up. See all of the food splatters on this wall here? Like, that just makes it really hard to clean. You can see the texture there. So we're going to be doing the backsplash from here all the way around. So all of this stuff is going to have to come off the wall. Little knife holder. We are going to leave this because we'd have to uninstall the microwave to get that down. Here's another look at those tiles. You can see they've got a more reflective finish, so we're hoping that will help reflect the under cabinet lights a little bit better. Gotta move all of this stuff. This is like our coffee and tea corner. And we'll probably make sure that gets stuck up there a little bit better. And then we're not going to do this part here. We're just gonna stay down, and we'll go underneath and under here as well. all it would be. Huh? It's not. Okay. All right, hold on. Wonderful. Just one there. All right, we're good. All right, let's do. So here is what the space looks with most of the things off the walls. I did leave the knife holder, since that's anchor bolted into the wall, and the spice holder up there for my husband to take care of. And this is all of the stuff that normally sits on our countertops. All right, y'all, here's the current chaos of the process. So the stove is in front of the fridge, and the pantry's been moved over a bit. This is grout that we're actually not going to use. This was left over from a different project, but we've decided not to use it because we'd have to buy more of it, and my husband, this is a gray grout, and my husband would actually prefer using a white grout and not having to try to find this exact brand of grout to get enough to do the whole job. So he is off getting that grout right now. There's where the stove normally is. And then, I don't know if you can see over here or not, but he is scraping off the high points of this. So you can see here, scraping off some of the high points so that the tile just goes on better. And down here, right here, he has taken off the caulking that was sealing that so he can get a fresh start on that. He will end up caulking after he's done putting the tile in, caulking along the bottom here and then caulking in the corners. So you can see he got spice rack and the knife magnet off. Some of the spacers he's going to use. But this is where we're at. Editing Sarah here. Not sure what happened to the audio of this clip. There's literally no sound. So this is just the progress so far. He has most of the tiles on this side. He just has the end tiles that will overlap the black backsplash and that little row at the top. So he was out in the garage cutting that little row of tiles at the top at this point in time, I believe. And I think I'm just trying to show you how they overlap a little bit on the black background there. This is what he is using to install them instead of doing a thin coat of grout, mortar, whatever you want to call it, grout. So he's trying this. He saw this in the store, and it seems to be working pretty well. And these tiles are not that heavy, so hopefully that will work out well for us. He said it's making the project go by a lot quicker, and it had pretty good reviews online. And then he did get, I'm pointing out that little picture on the back that you can't see because that is the grout that he went to get. I think I mentioned earlier that he didn't want to use the other powder grout that we had, but this is white grout that he's going to be using, and it's already pre-mixed, which is nice. But he got that on his last run to the store. And that is the progress so far in the kitchen. And I think here I'm talking about how we're going to get rid of these and just get white ones. The original owners had these in the house, and it looks nice with how they had the house decorated, but it's just not decorated in any way close to what it used to be when I moved in. So we want it to kind of blend in a little bit more. And here I am pointing at things. I think I'm counting how many covers I'm going to need, and I didn't write it down, and the audio disappeared, so I actually don't remember. What was that, like 5 of the normal outlet covers maybe? And then we have this GFCI outlet over here that we'll need to have a different cover for. And I think I was trying to remember what these were called, and that's why I'm looking at that one for so long. And then we'll need a 3-switch one here. And I'm pointing at that switch because I've lived in the house for many years and I have no clue what that's for. The middle one's for a dishwasher. The one all the way to the left is for the light above the sink. But that last one, still have no clue what that's for. I think I don't know. It doesn't seem to be for that outlet because that outlet works without it being turned on. And there was our landline that we never use, and it's just always hidden behind the pantry. Hey y'all, here is the progress. It's now the afternoon. You can see we have the final row on the top there. And here's the other side. and I can hear him in the garage cutting that top row of tile that is going to go there. So I know he wanted to at least get this back wall done for today so that we can probably get back into the kitchen and have it be functional, because it is not right now. I mean, you can see our stove is in front of our fridge there. We keep moving around, and this is normally where we eat. Sometimes we do eat at that table out there. However, it is going to be 97 today with a heat index of 112, so we are not doing that. But look, he's doing a great job.